everybody, welcome back to my channel, Living Solo, Living Well. And in case we haven't met, I'm Kat, and I'm a 64, almost 65-year-old registered nurse. And I just like to talk about different things. Sometimes it's just a mixture of stuff, and sometimes it's specific topics. So I wanted to kind of explain why I haven't made some videos in a little while. It's been several weeks, I believe. And I have had a ton of back pain, and some of you know because I've done some videos on a work comp injury or a work injury, and I'm still under workers' comp. And it's been 4 years and three full months, and going on 4 years and 4 months. And I still struggle with back pain in the thoracic spine where I had a fracture. And anyway, so when it gets to hurting, it just radiates outward, and it just kind of puts a damper on my personality, my thinking, my energy level, I guess you can say. And it just makes me just want to rest and do nothing. And so that's what I've done pretty much, besides working my very PRN job and doctor appointments and what have you. So anyway, I also wanted to address, I started a new PRN nursing job back in February, I believe. And it is just 4 hours a day because I'm limited on number of hours a day I can work because of the back issue. So it's not a hard job at all. It's very simple. It's very sedentary at a wound clinic. And I greet people. I'm a hyperbaric oxygen chamber nurse, but when we don't have any patients for that, I help out at the desk. So I check people in, I get them registered, I check them out, a bunch of other miscellaneous kind of office stuff. And anyway, I'll jump back to kind of fill you in on what things I'm experiencing at that job. They're not bad things, but so back when I had the injuries to my spine, when I had a really bad fall and I had a brain injury, I had some memory loss. So that has improved somewhat, but there are still issues that come up that are just out of my control. So the issue that has come up at my new job is that I'm having some memory issues, and I don't know why. There are certain things that just won't stick in my brain. They just won't stick. And before I had the injuries over 4 years ago, I was excellent at multitasking, and I didn't have memory issues at all. I could handle anything pretty much, super nurse, and not really, but I could handle anything. I could multitask. And there are a couple of things that are coming up, or that I'm supposed to do when a patient registers, and I just can't seem to remember one of those things. For example, when I register patients, and then if they're there for like a nurse eval or a nurse evaluation versus wound care, I don't put their registration paperwork with the chart. They don't need the chart. If it's a wound care patient, I do put the registration paperwork with the chart. So for some reason, I cannot remember to not put that paperwork with the chart. So it makes the other nurses say, "Hey, Kat, we don't need the chart with a nurse eval." And it has happened so many times. So the way that I decided to kind of combat that, well, the first time, I thought, okay, I'll put a Post-it note on the registration paperwork for patients that have nurse evals. And that way I'll see it. They're all stacked together in order of the patients for the day. So I will see it. In my mind, I was like, okay, I'll see it and I'll remember. It'll jog my memory. And first time I did it, I had a Post-it note right there and put it with a chart, gave it to the nurse. And she had reminded me she didn't need it. And I said, I just forgot. They don't all know about my issues, just a couple of them, and they only know very little because I don't want to I feel defective, and I don't want to just talk about all the issues. So I just try to wing my way through it. So after that, I thought, okay, now I've got to get this down pat. So I decided to put the Post-it note on the patient's name on the registration paperwork, because I'll pull the sheet up out of the pile, out of the stack, and I won't be able to see who it is because that Post-it note is covering the name. So that has worked. However, there's always something. The first patient, that we had two patients that were evals, and so it worked for the first one. So when I came across the second one, I had looked at it, I moved the Post-it note to see who the patient was, and then I sat the Post-it note down on the counter where I was, and then I checked the patient in, took that paperwork and put it with a chart. And as I was getting the chart and paper clipping the paperwork to it, I realized, oh, this is an eval, so I put the chart back. So I caught myself, but for some reason, there are certain things that my brain, after the brain injury, cannot retain. Sometimes it's phone numbers, it's numbers, if there are 3 or 4 numbers in a row, and I'm reciting them in my head, I'm constantly reciting those numbers, so I'll remember. And when I go to write them down or recite them, say them to somebody, I don't know them all. And it's like I keep in my mind, inside, I'm saying them over and over and over, so I won't forget, and I forget. And there's just some disconnect, when I brain got jostled around. And so I am having a really hard time with some things, and they're noticing. The other employees, the other nurses are noticing. Thankfully, I just work with nurses, so they can kind of understand if there's an issue, if I had to explain it. So I feel like I want to explain it, but less is more. I had a friend years ago. She's still my friend now. She'll be 80 next month. But she would always say, we've been friends for many, many years, and she would always say, less is more. Just give enough information, that's all. So I'm trying to do that because I don't want to be looked upon at work as, I'm the oldest one there. So there's that. And then I'm an injured person, and so I feel defective. So I feel old and defective, and not old and effective, but old and defective. And that I struggle with that because it just makes me doubt myself, I guess. So anyway, I've been dealing with that and trying to figure out a way to overcome whatever these obstacles are that I'm having a difficult time with. So I feel like I've got that one kind of manageable until I forget again. But so there's that. And then with the back issues, the back has just kept me from really doing much in my free time. So I have a lot of doctor appointments. I still go to therapy, vision therapy, and neurology and ENT appointment coming up. So, and I also have a lot of pain. Today's a rough day with the pain in my ear and along this side, because this is where I damaged my neck when I fell backwards. So there were a whole lot of injuries. And so I struggle with that on certain days for whatever reason. And so today I'm feeling it all through here and here, but I'm trying to stay upbeat and, get some things done and make some videos. But anyway, the next thing I wanted to talk about was, as some of you know, I have my house for sale. And I actually had 2 offers in less than 12 hours a couple weeks ago. So ended up accepted an offer. We countered, they accepted our counter, or my counter. When I say we, it's the realtor and I, and my pets. So that's we. But I accepted, finally when they sent the counter back that they accepted, then I signed it. So we had a contract, and they had a couple contingencies with regard to home inspection and financing. So so I was really excited. They sent the home inspector out almost a week after we had a contract. So this past Thursday, the home inspector came out, and then but we kept having some thoughts, gut feeling about these people, because back in March they looked at my house and they told my agent that they're concerned about the roof. Well, there's nothing wrong with the roof, and I'll get to that in a minute. So we had that, and but during that time when they first looked at the house, They had just sold their place the night before, and their agent asked my agent, they wanted to know if I could be out in 30 days at that time. And so I made a few phone calls, decided it would work, and told the agent yes. And then the agent was thrilled to hear it. And then my agent never heard anything back from her, tried to contact her, never got a response. So it just kind of like they were just flighty. And so we went through that. Then they wanted to see the house again in May. I just found out from my agent she was out of town and there was some kind of issue, so it didn't get shown to them at that time. And then the third episode was this last time. And the agent had told my agent recently, before we had a contract, that she said, I can't believe that the seller, which is me, never had a problem with her roof, because they're thinking I have this crappy roof, and it's not. It has some stuff from the trees being over it, because there are a ton of trees. So it's got that green, just kind of the, not mossy, but just kind of the mildew stuff. Every house in town has that. If you're under trees, even if you're not, you have stuff on your roof. But I've had it cleaned off. I've had the gutters cleaned. Everything is good. So prior to the home inspection, so the day we had the contract signed, my agent contacted a roofer who's a friend of hers and asked if he could just come out and look at the roof and tell me if there's anything wrong, because we could be armed when we got the home inspection. So the roofer came out and he said, it is a 14-year-old roof. It looks like what a 14-year-old roof looks like. And there's some nail heads that have popped up. They can just be caulked around. And there was a shingle that was broken, but it was on right at the edge of the gutter. So there was nothing structural. It wasn't causing rain to get in or leak. It was just a broken off portion, maybe a 6 or 8 inch portion. Like it broke into a third, and that part came off. So that's purely cosmetic, he said. And he said there is no structural issue whatsoever. There's no hail damage. Everything looks good. It looks like it should. There's at least 5 years left of it. So it's probably a 20-year roof, because it was replaced in 2012 by the prior owners just before I bought it. So we were armed with that, and I thought, yay, great. There's nothing wrong with the roof. So they have had a problem with it since they first looked at it. And then in May, or I guess when they had an issue in May, they didn't get to see the house then because the agent was out of town, as was their agent. So this last time they had an issue with the roof as well, but they didn't put anything in the contract or the offer. So when the home inspector did his home inspection, I do have an issue with the eaves. They're wooden eaves or wooden soffits, and that's visible from the outside. You see that. So they saw that. It's not bad. There's one corner that has another little issue, but that's so high off the ground. I just haven't been able to get to it. However, normally when a buyer has a home inspection, they will negotiate whatever issues they might feel like there are based on the home inspection. So we never got a negotiation. We just got the contract was terminated. They terminated the contract, and they stated damaged shingles. There's one broken shingle. There are no other damaged shingles. So damaged shingles, and they noted the eaves. But the thing is that I don't understand is they saw that and they made an offer on the house. So you would think they would negotiate that, but they didn't. They just pulled their contract. And so when my agent had sent the info to her broker to have him sign off on it, on the termination of the contract, he read it and then he contacted her. He didn't know about all these little issues they had prior with the roof. He just saw what was written there, what their agent put on that form. And he told my agent that they just really wanted out. They had regretted making the offer for whatever reason. They were just using these as excuses, because if they had been serious about it, they would have countered or negotiated any of those issues. That's typically how it goes. So they did put a substantial amount of money down for earnest money. So they were serious about it. But my issue is, why, if you see that, if you look at a house and you're a buyer and you see something and you go, well, I'm still going to make an offer on it. That doesn't matter. But you get the home inspection back, and it cites what those issues are, just like you saw them. And then you just pull the contract. I don't understand that. So whatever. But the other thing I don't understand, immediately, like not immediately, but a day and a half, actually it was a day later, because they pulled the contract this past Saturday morning and yesterday morning. And so today, I believe it was yesterday morning. And so, well, it's Friday morning. So yesterday, I got a call from her saying, can you show the house in like ASAP? And I was out and about, so I said I can be home. I need 30 minutes to kind of spruce it up. So these buyers loved the house. So when they came, the comment from their agent was, there's a step up into the kitchen, and they don't think their mother, who walks with a cane, would be able to navigate that because she's elderly. And there are 3 steps down into I call it the downstairs, the garage room. It's a garage. It's a ranch style house, and the garage was remodeled many, many years ago before I bought it. So there are 3 steps going down into that room, and they couldn't navigate that. But the thing is, well, there have been 3 or 4 other buyers who have come to look at the house, and the steps are an issue. But the thing is that all of the photos, we just had new photos done a few weeks ago. All the photos show the steps. They show the step up into the kitchen. It's about an 8-inch step up. That was an add-on in the 90s, I believe, is what I was told. So if you see those in the ad, in the listing, and there's a video also of the list of the house, inside and out, so you see those. Why would you look at the house if you know you have an issue with steps? I'm confused about that. So if you have an issue with the roof, the shingles, whatever, the roof, whatever, the soffits and steps, why do you come look at the house? Why do you make an offer on the house if there's something that you see? It doesn't make any sense. So anyway, those are the issues that I've had. And then there have been 3 other couples or family or people, buyers, who have looked at the house, 3 different occasions, 3 different sets of buyers, I guess. And I don't have a garage. I have a circle driveway. So, your car gets dirty under the trees. That's just the way it is. There's probably very few houses in my neighborhood have a garage. It's an older 1950s house. So we've had people come out, and once they get here, they're like, oh, there's no garage. I don't know what we're going to do about a garage, because there is a way to possibly put one, but you see that in the photos. You see it in the video. There's a walk around the property video. And why would you want to go see that house if you know it doesn't have a garage? So I'm venting about that because I take my time to clean the house when they say, can you show the house? So I clean it because I have pets, so it's a daily thing. I'm wasting my time because they, for whatever reason, still want to come see the house, even though they know there's no garage and they want a garage. So these are the 3 issues I've had lately that, regarding selling the house, but especially why do you come out and look at it? And why'd you make an offer on it if you already saw the things and you made an offer after seeing them? So my house isn't trashy at all. The outside is not trashy. There are just a couple of little wooden issues. And anyway, so I guess I'm venting about that, but sorry you have to take the brunt of it. But anyway, those are my issues. I've been dealing with the back pain as well, which intensifies other issues, because when you're hurting, you don't feel good. It makes everything just burdensome. So anyway, it kind of ebbs and flows as far as the pain. So it'll ease up again. I'll go through a period where it'll ease up a bit, but I just have had so much trouble with it, and haven't wanted to do anything. I haven't even wanted to have my house shown. I don't want to clean my house. It is a struggle sometimes because of my back. But anyway, I just want to jump on here and let you know I hadn't been on in a while, and I hope to be making some more videos soon. So thanks for listening and visiting my channel, and I do hope that you subscribe, like, and share, and have a great day, and I will see you on the next video.